Hi, my name is Bill Schaeffer, and today we have a book review of Zen in the Art of Archery by Eugen Herrigel. This book was first published in 1953, at a time when Zen and Zen philosophy was first being introduced to the United States and the Western world. In today's media culture, we forget that at the first part of the 20th century, Japanese society was pretty much a closed society to the rest of the world. And Zen Buddhism and Zen Buddhist philosophy was largely unknown in the rest of the world. And in the early 1950s, D.T.Suzuki published some of the best English language works on Zen. Eugen Herrigel was a German national and a philosopher who had an interest in Zen. This was in the 1930s, when little of Zen was known outside of Japan. So Eugen and his wife traveled to Japan and set out to study the principles of Zen. So as a method of practice, Eugen Herrigel took up archery, and his wife took up flower arranging, traditional Japanese flower arranging, and she wrote a book on the subject. But this book, Zen in the Art of Archery, describes Mr. Herrigel's frustration with trying to learn the principles of Zen. The characteristics of studying archery were extreme repetition of very basic principles. And then he learned to release the string, and it was quite a long time before he ever received an arrow to practice with. And after 5 years of practicing archery, he was very frustrated because he wasn't sure that he understood Zen, and he wasn't sure that he understood the method of doing archery. Eventually he learned the principles, and the book is very well written because of the story of him learning how to properly shoot an arrow and how to properly hold the bow. He introduces some of the basic concepts of Zen, of just being the moment without being conscious of yourself, letting the arrow release itself, being one with the target, and a lot of concepts that I can repeat without feeling like I have a true understanding of. Now, I don't do zazen, which is the sitting meditation, so I'm not qualified to really speak about Zen. But the thing I like about reading this book and reading about the practice of Zen and learning the skills is, as a musician or an artist or even an athlete, a person learning a skill, the process you go through mastering that skill is very similar in all the different types of skills. And the way Eugen Herrigel describes mastery of archery, I think, is very applicable to music in particular for me. And the method of letting the arrow release itself and being one with the target really are similar to improvisation and music and jazz improvisation or blues improvisation, where you're letting the melodies write themselves, where you're not conscious of yourself or playing the music, but the music is playing itself, and you're just jamming, and you're just there making it happen, but you're not doing it. It's doing itself. And the same thing occurs with painting, with drawing, with writing, with a lot of practices that's been described as being in the flow. Therefore, if you're an artist, a musician, have an interest in the principles of Zen Buddhism, I highly suggest reading Zen in the Art of Archery by Eugen Herrigel, an easy-to-read book that you can read time and time again. Thank you, and leave your comments below.